Video will show you how to create some recipes for making products within the tray cell system. So click on Our Recipes. Let's do an Add New Recipe. When you have green in this description box, you know that you're in the Add mode. So let's say we're going to make blueberry compote. And the next step is the run type. Now there are two different types here, known quantity and continuous. A known quantity is more for a batch type environment where you know exactly how much of the ingredients are going into a batch size, and you may want to make multiples of those batches, but as you consume the raw materials, they are completely removed from the inventory as they are scanned. The continuous is more like a production line environment where you might scan your raw materials at the beginning of that line, your ingredients, and your product is not actually consumed until you start making products at the other end of the line. So a continuous removes from inventory as it makes product, and the known quantity removes from inventory from the very beginning. So let's select known quantity for this recipe. And let's say the batch size is 1 kilogram. Now I could have different various sizes of unit of measure, but in choosing kilograms here. So we have time per batch in minutes. This is the scheduling feature, which allows you to tell us how much time you need to make this batch. And so let's say in minutes, it's going to take 10 minutes. And then the multiplier, let's say that if I were to multiply, if I was going to double my batch and make 2 kilograms, is it going to take another 10 minutes, or is it going to take more like half of that, so maybe 15 minutes? So you could say 0.5 and you would get 15 minutes instead of 20 there. Now batch can be doubled means that they can double that recipe. If they start with 1 kilogram batch size, they can say double it and it'll double all of your ingredients that are required. Sometimes that's not possible with certain ingredients, so that's why there's a checkbox there. This organic question, your options are conventional, or it's organic. If you select organic, it's only going to provide you with a list of raw materials or products that are organic in nature. So let's leave it at that so we can see how that works. I'm going to hit save. Once I hit save, it says we have saved the recipe. It has given us a date created, date last changed. And now we can open up this area and add mixing instructions and or ingredients. So if I click here to add a new instruction and I start typing, let's say it's going to be clean equipment, hit enter, it's going to move down a line, and so I want to make sure I click into that next row as it's moved it down, and I want to prompt to ensure that the equipment was clean. And when do I want to do that? I want to do that during the prep process. So as you're consuming your ingredients, this is where you would be prompted to say that you've cleaned the equipment before you start. And the target type in this case is going to be a yes or a no, so I can say a Boolean. If I wanted to include a PDF here, I could do that. We'd have to pick a different indicator there, so we'll touch base with that later. So a target value might be a yes or a no or a Boolean. So that's all we really need for that one. If I were to do another one, and I could have an instruction that is boil to 200 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit. And I won't need to prompt for that maybe. So you don't always have to prompt for are they adhering to the instructions. They could just be instructions that display when they're making the product. So then if I do another one here, and it might be, let's see, sure product has the right consistency. And I want to prompt. And when do I want to prompt? I want to prompt, let's Let's move down again. So I want to click on here, and I want to prompt at the first product being made or in the processing stage. If I want to make my target type view a PDF, I could then go and select from a list of PDFs I've preloaded in the admin page. So let's say I wanted to select this one here, then it will show the PDF when you're making that product. Down at the bottom here is where we want to add new ingredients to this recipe. So for example, if I pick, so as you can see now, I only have lime juice, which is an organic material, and some non-ingredient materials such as packaging. So I'm going to cancel out of there for now, go back to conventional so we see more ingredients. And now let's add some blueberries. So I have a product called blueberry mix. Sweet mix, there it is. And let's say I want to use some 3,800 grams of that product. Is lot tracing required? That will verify that a lot number is attached to that product or raw material when you scan it. Optional means it's not always required in this ingredients, in this recipe. So I'm going to say it's not optional and lot tracing is required. So you can see now I'm down in the bottom here. It is showing the 3,800 grams. I have not set a tolerance. It is not optional. If the raw material was set up as organic, non-GMO, fair trade, or kosher, you would see a check mark there. And any notes that were provided for that raw material would appear there. So let's add another ingredient. Let's add some lime juice. And let's say we're going to use 100 mils of that. Let's say save. You can see here we actually see a standard cost there because we had a standard cost on our lime juice. So that is now displaying. And our organic is now displaying also. If I wanted to have a tolerance that it must be within 1 milliliter, I could put that in there. And if I wanted to say the percentage of that recipe is, let's say, 10% of the recipe is that product there. We add another ingredient. Let's say we want to select some sugar. So our sugar is some white sugar. Let's say we want 500 grams of that. Save. And now we have our sugar as well. So let's say as our percentage of recipes goes, 10, 10, and 80. And it now adds up to 100, and our message at the bottom goes away. So now we're ready to have a recipe that we can follow to make a product. And so the next step will be to create a product that uses this recipe so that we can use it in our production. All right, thank you.